Sharon. Thank you, sir, for present this morning. Now, I would like to request the board chairman, Mr. Vijay Maharaj, for the official overall committee.
Does not require any introduction.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to, of course, acknowledge the chair of LTA, the board members of LTA, the CEO, Nadi, representatives of the Governor of Nawaka, the CEO of LTA, and of course the CEO of FRA, because land transport, as you know, plays a very pivotal role, a close relationship with the roads in Fiji. As the chairman highlighted, that government has been working with its different agencies to be able to provide the right type of budget requirements, resource requirements to be able to modernize our economy. Because essentially with facilities such as this, you will see that service level deliveries will improve. You'll get one-stop shops. You don't have people going to different parts of the town or of the city to get different sources of services from the same agency. So in this particular instance, you've got LTA Nadi that's been set up here, where you have all the different requirements that you may have as a consumer, all the license requirements, all the approvals in terms of vehicle inspection, etc., will all be done in one place. Now, we also, as you know, traditionally in Fiji, we have had many governmental agencies or government-related agencies that have only opened Monday to Friday. Now, this facility, of course, will be open on a Saturday too. This again proves to, goes towards increasing consumer satisfaction, consumer service delivery at the consumer's convenience. And we hope that, of course, this will be replicated through other agencies also. Ladies and gentlemen, I think, you know, as I was coming last night, in fact, I left Suva last night after midnight. And as I was sort of beginning to doze off, around about 11, my eyes opened at the LTA checkpoint, where they have the weighing of the trucks. And it is quite interesting to see that we had a number of the 2 trucks that were stopped by the roadside by the LTA officers, actually climbing into the back of the truck. And that's what I saw when I was passing. But it's very interesting to see these trucks operate very late at night. The reality of the matter is that many of these trucks are actually breaching the truckload requirements. The reality of the matter also is that many people in Fiji complain about the roads not being good. But there are some of the people who do complain are the very ones who actually contribute towards the breaking up of the roads. You cannot have your cake and eat it too. You cannot want modern day facilities but not decide to modernize yourselves, decide to modernize your attitude, your responsibility in society. We have to change. Everybody wants to be like Singapore. Everybody wants to be like, you know, modern day cities like Auckland and Sydney, but they have certain rules and regulations that everybody actually adheres to. Some people in Fiji want those modern day cities but don't want the rules and regulations to apply to them. We cannot operate in that manner. We have to change our attitudes. We have to follow the rules and regulations. Don't complain during the daylight about the roads, but at night you are the ones driving the trucks that's actually overladen with weight. It cannot function that way. The police, the LTA are doing their best. People need to be able to adhere to the rules and laws that are actually in place. Land transportation overall in any country contributes a significant portion towards the economy. As you have seen, for example, the government over a period of few years relaxing the duty, in fact making zero-rated duty a number of cars and vehicles into Fiji. We've seen a huge exponential growth of vehicles onto the roads in Fiji. People who previously could not afford cars were now buying cars. And you'll see invariably in nearly every home there is a motor vehicle. In fact, now the trend is 2 or 3 motor vehicles in one home because the affordability rate has increased. People's attitudes are changing. People love to say, my son or daughter has just bought the new car. Of course, what does this mean? It means that there's an enormous pressure on the road system. It means there's enormous pressure on the policing of the manner in which people drive, whether people are speeding. It can lead to road accidents and deaths even. Of course, it also means traffic jams. So government, and people need to appreciate this, government needs to constantly be able to respond to these changes in society. People will complain about the traffic jam between Nadi and Lautoka. The reality of the matter is a few years ago there was no traffic jams. Today there is, because there's actually been a growth of cars on the roads. So what does government do? Government actually has to build a 4-lane road. We are responding to that. We said that the work on that will start in this financial year. These things cost money. In the same way, we are working with the bus industry to be able to ensure that people also use public transportation when they can and when they, in fact, they should at certain times. Other times you can drive your cars, other times it's better and quicker and cheaper and in fact more time effective if you take public transportation. So what have we done? We zero-rated duty on buses being imported into the country. So we make buses attractive. So people can have buses with air conditioning, the closed windows, don't have tarpaulins as windows. So people who go to work feel that they're going to get wet if it's going to rain. So overall, there's a number of issues that actually flow on from changes in society, and government constantly has to respond to it. But the point that I do want to make today, ladies and gentlemen, is that we also have a particular level of responsibility. We have a particular level of duty to be able to ensure that we also contribute towards modernizing your country, towards not only just thinking about yourself, but also thinking overall nationally, what is good for us? Where do we want to be in 5-10 years' time? Do we want to accept the modern day technologies? Do we want to be able to work with each other, the different agencies, the Taxi Association, Carrier Association, Bus Association, the LTA, the police, all the different agencies working together to ensure that we have a collaborative effort to ensuring not just modernization, but also better quality of life and the decision-making process that we are engaged in. So I'd like to thank the LTA board for the much of the modernization that's been taking place. This afternoon there's going to be a draw and completion of the taxi permits that will be issued by LTA. And of course then they will then move on to Suva, Nassori area and various other parts of Fiji. And I want to reiterate this point again, that many people in the past, for example, have acquired permits through corrupt means. Because they knew somebody, because they went to the same school, they went to the same church or temple or mosque, or there was corruption, somebody's paid money, or because of the same faith, same province, whatever it is. You cannot run a modern day licensing system, modern day permit system based on that. It has to be done through a proper, transparent process. And as we have set out the regulations that the licenses, the permits or the preferences will be given to low-income families, and even amongst that, and I want to highlight this, the last time when we did the draw, I think it was last year, year before last, there were families who were well off who actually applied. There are people within one family, about 4 or 5 people within one family applied. Again, that's corrupt. Again, that's being dishonest, that's being disingenuous. And the LTA then has to go through a particular process, knocking people off, getting the right people in, and this drags out the whole process. As a result of that, they have to do a redraw to complete it. As a result of that, it's slowed down some of the other changes we want to bring. We want to have open bases, allow people to operate, get rid of the illegal operators, get people who are illegal to be legal. These are the kind of things we need to think about. I also want to send a message to many of the other taxi operators too. I have been told on a number of occasions about tourists coming to Fiji who get ripped off by taxi drivers. When the fare, if you turn on the meter, is probably about $7, but they're paying $40. They're paying $50. Now you're killing the goose that lays the golden egg. Not everybody's lining up to come to Fiji. When people sit in Australia and New Zealand, they go through the internet, they look at Fiji, they look at Bali, they look at Phuket, they look at Solomon Islands, they look at all other different destinations. And they make a choice. And the choices are, well, do I go to this country because the airport is nice and clean, the roads are efficient, as soon as I get off at the airport, I can very quickly go through the airport. Yes, if I jump in a taxi, I know I'll pay the right fare, or will I get ripped off? If I go to a hotel, will I pay $20 for a bowl of fries, or will I pay $5? That's what people look at. We are generally a family destination. We of course need to change that. But if you have a family of 4 or 5 children, you add up all these costs. Then you look at which destination you'll go to. So by you ripping off people, that tourist is probably not going to come back to Fiji. So what are you ultimately doing? You're actually kicking your own bowl of income that you would have got repeatedly. In the same way, as you know, a few years ago, we had shopkeepers down in Nadi. I remember this, and I've told this story before. I went into a shop and there was a Bulla shirt hanging up, and it had marked price $65. And I asked him, how much is it? He said, $20. And then 2 minutes later, somebody else walked in, another fellow Fijian who walked in, he said $25. So I asked him, why did you mark it 65? He said, this is the tourist price. Now, if he sold it at $20 or $25, that tourist will probably buy 3-4 shirts. In the same way, when we go overseas, like chocolates are much cheaper. So when I see the chocolates, I'll think of all my family, my wife's family, the extended family, buy chocolates for everybody. That's what people will do. So you make money on the volume. If you charge the tourist the right fare, he'll say, oh, $7, not bad. Maybe I'll use him for the next 5 trips whilst I'm here. But if you charge the tourist $40 and they know they're being ripped off, they're not going to sit in the taxi again. It's very simple economics. So we as a country, we as a nation, as business people, as taxi drivers, as carrier drivers, as bus operators need to think about longevity, about long-term prospects. What are we going to do? What are we doing as a nation? What are you doing contributing as a nation? And these are very critical times, ladies and gentlemen, because we've been growing for the past 10 years in Fiji. The economy is growing for the past 10 years. We need to continue this momentum. It's critically important. The world economically, as I said about two nights ago, there's a recession in some of the countries, or recession is about to set in countries. Even our trading partner like Australia, development partner, has been very hard hit by the American and Chinese trade war that's going on. We of course are somewhat buffered from it. But just think about it. If the Australian economy goes into a recession, there'll be less Australian tourists coming. What does that mean? Less people wanting your taxis, less people occupying your hotels, less people going to the restaurants, to the pubs, less income for us. So what can we do to ensure that we continue to be attractive? That's what we have to think about. And we can do that as a nation. And we're in a very positively driven position at this point in time. So ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to, of course, tell those people who are not here to use the LTA services. We're constantly looking at improving those quality of services through LTA and various other agencies. And I'd like to thank once again the board and its management team in coming up with this facility, and we look forward to their growth. And of course, we look forward to your collaboration and working with the LTA to make sure that the land transportation system in Fiji becomes modernized and of course a lot more consumer friendly and efficient. Naka, thank you very much. Hello, how are you? do the examination here?
Just on the